All right, welcome back. Well, going through a divorce can be a difficult time for everyone involved, the husband, the wife, and especially the children, not to mention countless family and friends. That's why it's so important to be guided through the process the correct way. And joining us this morning is attorney Renee Bauer. She recently published the book Divorce in Connecticut. So Renee, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So the first thing I want to ask you, what made you want to write this book?
Well, divorce is so difficult for the people going through it. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It often makes the strongest people weak in the knees. People turn to friends for advice and family for advice and often the internet for advice. And not all advice is good advice. I thought writing this book would give people information at their fingertips that they could turn to. To
make it obviously helpful. Now, we should mention when it comes to divorce, every state is different and there's so many differences, but people need to keep that in mind.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to get legal counsel. In Connecticut, someone who practices divorce law, because one state is very different from the other. And when people turn to friends and family who may have experiences in other states, they may get very different results.
Now, as we had mentioned, this is a very sensitive topic, and there may be someone out there who is thinking of filing for divorce. If you want to go that route, what are some of the ways that you should be initiating that? What are some of the first steps people can take? Because if they're not familiar with it, it can be a difficult process.
Absolutely. The first thing is get informed. Make an appointment with an attorney who knows the law in Connecticut. Meet with them. The more information you have, the better you are able to make informed, rational, reasonable decisions rather than decisions that are tainted with emotion and grief.
Got it. Now, we should mention that the format of the book, it's actually question and answer. So
yes,
people can see questions that people have asked and get the specific answers to it. What made you want to do that? Obviously, to make it easier for the readers?
Absolutely. It's not meant to read from cover to cover. It's meant to open it up. And if you have a question that you're thinking, you can flip to and find a quick, easy to understand answer.
Use it as a point of reference.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things, and I mentioned this in the introduction, was a divorce with children is obviously very difficult. How should a husband and wife be handling that situation with their kids?
It's always the most difficult aspect of a divorce, and you don't have to agree with your ex-spouse, but you do have to respect each other. And the question is, at the end of the day and at the end of your divorce, can you attend your son's soccer game together and sit next to each other, or your daughter's wedding and not have to be on opposite sides of the room? If you keep that in mind and your child's best interest in mind, and you get through the process with dignity and respect.
Be amicable for the children. The other thing too, is there ways to avoid having to go to court to trial with a divorce? Are there alternatives to that?
There are. Mediation is a great alternative. The collaborative law process is another great alternative. It empowers the couple to make decisions for themselves as to what life looks like after the divorce, rather than give it to a judge who doesn't know you.
All right, and the other thing that we had mentioned earlier is that obviously getting advice from friends or family, especially if they're not familiar with it, can be a dangerous road to go down. Why is that?
Because not all advice is good advice. Everyone has a very different story and different experiences. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and sometimes you get unreasonable expectations when you turn to family and friends for their experiences.
Obviously, so some good advice people should definitely be paying attention to. And aside from that, is there one big piece of advice you would give to people out there going through this?
Hold your head up high, go through the process with integrity, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you will get through this.
All right, very good. Renee, thank you very much. And I'm sure the book will be helpful for a lot of people here in the state. We appreciate you being here with us.